Good afternoon, traders, degenerates, and hedge fund fakers. It's midday, the espresso is worn off, and Wall Street just opened a group chat named Soft Landing, but Make It Spicy. Nvidia is back to stealing scenes like it's season 5 of Succession. QQQ bought a nice pair of upside pants, but kept the belt tight. And even Grandpa Healthcare wandered in with a long-dated crush. So, are we bullish? Yes. Are we also terrified? Also, yes. It's called professionalism. So let's talk about the room temperature so far, aka our flow scanner here. So first things first, we're seeing Nvidia with 68 million in flow, 63 million of that, however, is going into calls. That's not YOLO, that's asset allocation with a gym membership. QQQ came in second place with 12.5 million in flow so far, 5 million going into calls against 7 million in puts. Tech wants upside, but not without a chaperone or some hedging in that case. Tesla, 6 million. We're seeing a slight call tilt here. Again, it's a 50-50 casino almost. Tesla's like your friend who doesn't drink and then orders a mezcal. You also have PLTR with 7.37 million. If you've been on Twitter in the last week, you've seen everyone talking about that bubble, so no shock there. SPY, we're seeing 5.5 million with hedges. Someone's still wrapping the market up in bubble wrap. Microsoft is at 13 million total with a sneaky put wall that was built because nothing says growth like please don't gap me. And then we're seeing TSM, AMD, and Intel. Chips rotating between calls and helmet hairs. Semis are the main character. They're just wearing a harness today. This isn't panic, it's prep. The big money is being pointed currently and not thrown. So let's talk about some of our big money prints. Speaking of that, by the way. So to kick things off, we had back-to-back Nvidia. Big time calls come through. 185 and 190 calls. These are also due for 2025, September 19th, so a little short dated here. That's not a Robinhood challenge. That's a thesis that says AI CapEx margins in data center spread or center spend. Please keep doing that because that's what's going to, well, keep Nvidia from pumping and not falling off a cliff like Palantir just did. We're also seeing MDT $100 calls that came in unusually. Long-dated healthcare calls, they're not sexy, but neither is compound free cash flow until it pays for your vacation and maybe your kid's education. And then we also saw some puts with a message. So again, those puts with a purpose. We're seeing some AMD 2026 downside protection, some 140 puts due for September 18th of 2026. And we're also seeing some TSM as well come in here for 2025 protection with the 240 puts we saw there. Semi-believers with a panic button. It's like wearing a parachute on a plane that rarely crashes. You won't need it until you do. The adults are back and they'll buy the upside, but they ensure the feelings first. So now we're going to switch gears and head over to our unusual tab. This is where typically you're going to see big bets against the trend and extreme volume over open interest that is currently available on contracts. So first things first, we have RGTI calls that were coming in. Here we are, RGTIs for this week. We saw $17.5 calls with a $1.65 million premium on these bad boys. Speculative science plus optionality equals a cheap lottery ticket because these are also only 24 cents. That doesn't blow up the book either. We're also seeing some UVXY puts here as well, which these are on the other tab. 10/17, 2025, $11 puts, 127K premium. Someone betting on volume decay. That's basically the gym membership you keep paying for. It slowly just makes things smaller. And then we're also seeing some HYG puts, a quiet nudge that credit risk hasn't gone to heaven yet. If growth wobbles, spreads remember how to widen. Unusual does not equal the prophecy. It's a breadcrumb. So go to see if there's a bakery first before you just blindly buy a muffin off the street. Now, so we had some secret handshakes coming through our dark pools today. And again, our dark pool data is where institutions quietly move money so they don't spook the markets or investors. We saw large blocks stroll through SCHF and VEA. These are international equity wrappers, and IEF and TLT, those are treasuries, and a taste of single name prints. This reads like an allocator plumbing, rebalancing across stock slash credit slash sovereign, not, oh my God, we live in a simulation. So what is the flow saying in plain English? Well, chips still carry the crown. Nvidia leads, AMD and TSM manage the turbulence. ETF hedges, we're seeing QQQ SPY HYG. They're still alive because macro calendars exist, and so does Jackson Hole. And then sleeper lanes, MDT and Rigetti, tiny but telling. Investors sprinkling non-AI's asymmetry, so it's not all GPUs and vibes. It's not a panic, it's a prenup. We're marrying the rally, but the lawyers looked at the paperwork first. So our if and then statements for today: if we're green, call lanes help glide. Nvidia, Tesla, QQQ can levitate without CrossFit. Momentum will pocket. PDD, CFLT style names tend to follow through. And if we're red, put shelves act like magnets. SPY and QQQ drift towards the heavy strikes. Semi-puts do their job. Gold hedges look smart, and volume products remember how to breathe. Today's flow is less fear and more grown-ups preparing for headlines. AI is still the protagonist on a leash. Indices are dating risk, but still sharing locations with a friend. And yes, healthcare and quantum got invited to the party because every portfolio needs a designated driver and a wild card. Trade the theme, skip the noise, and for the love of God, don't buy the top of IV at brunch. See you at the close. This is Max Pitts with Investor Central Club. I'll see you guys in the next one.